He's back in Imperial, we're good. But we had to put stoplights on 86, and now what we really need are overpasses, but we didn't have the resources yet to do that. That's the next phase of making sure these trucks can go all the way from Victor's border in Calexico all the way to the I-10, and somehow we're going to find additional money to make sure they can get in and out of Long Beach when they need to get there. So thank you all for making this work, and I'm going to let Dennis talk more. I was really proud to carry the resolution for Victor Vasey and his family. But Dennis, helped me out on that, and it's been important, and he had the more close family connections, as had been alluded to earlier. But I just want to say, just for the record, Dennis and I have a good friend. His name is Bob Huff. You will have somebody who was from Imperial County, even if he's not representing Imperial County in the Senate next year. And we are pleased he was able to win a primary this year just last week that we think will result in him coming to the Senate next year. He's been in the Assembly for a couple of years now. He is from the Huffs of Huff Road. And he is from that family, although he represents a district in the LA area now. And so we'll have a little more connection, and he's been very helpful to us on a lot of these transportation issues in the Assembly. So even if he is a Republican, just like Victor and Dennis, it's just what it is. But it's really been helpful to all of us. It's part of the reason we can get these projects is because we always get bipartisan support when we need it. So thank you all very much.
Good morning, and I think the question that you all maybe had before when you saw my name or saw me introduced is, why is a guy whose district is 50 miles from the Imperial Valley here for this dedication of a local project? It's not because I think it's such a wonderful project for all the state of California, though I do congratulate you on something that is certainly going to improve trade, as Denise just mentioned, and also going to improve quality of life in the valley, and particularly in Brawley. But as was mentioned, I'm here to talk about Vic Vasey and the namesake that this project is going to be, partly because of my family connection and that, but when he passed away a few years ago, I was looking back and realized that when I thought of a public servant and somebody who was dedicated to the types of things that result in projects like this, to the types of things that make our country great, I always thought of Vic Vasey, and there's good reason for that. My dad, as was alluded to, worked for Vic when he was in Congress, and congratulations, it took 38 years, but you got a promotion to Chief of Staff. District Representative. And that association from working with him not only meant that my first political involvement was handing out flyers for Vic Vasey on street corners and in front of shopping centers, but also that family connection throughout the years. And I think John talked about Vic beyond his political life and how he still remained involved and dedicated as a public servant. So it's truly an honor and a privilege to be able to be here today, not just in working with Denise as we have for the last several years, although I was part of that captive crew on the conference committee until recently. And I'm no longer on the budget committee, and so I have more than one free weekend this summer, hopefully. But it is also, as I said, I think wholly appropriate, and I think very illustrative of the fact that not only is this valley one of those places that works together bipartisanly and regionally for the things that make the valley work, but Vic Vasey is one of those people who represented the valley, was from the valley, and his dedicated public service. It is great that you are recognizing him today with this dedication in his name. Thanks for having me here.
I guess Caltrans is ready for the unveiling. Can we get Senator? state law will be paid for out of privately donated funds as well. All of the public money will go into construction of projects, and the signage will be privately donated. Already have graffiti. Will, you want to sign it too? Well, the contract director is
That's right, already. No, that's good.
And now I'd like to introduce John Basie, who will speak on behalf of the family. John?
Well, this is great. Another great memory having to do with my father, who's no longer with us. But thank you for this great honor for our family. My sister-in-law, Millie, represents the family also. We have... We Basies have lived here for 5 generations. My grandpa won a ranch close by, a couple of miles away, about 100 years ago, and we've stuck it out. Now my son farms the farm, and my granddaughters are at winter school, coming through the Brawley school system. I remember passing out those leaflets door to door. One of those things I didn't have an option about. In the 60s, my dad got a taste for politics beyond Brawley's elementary school district, but decided that he should be an assemblyman. So he ran on a platform that we spent too damn much money in the state of California, that the budget was going to be $1 billion. Far cry, a little cry from the $15 billion budget deficit that we see today. And so he went off to Sacramento to, of course, they only met every other year, so they had a lot of time to spend that money. We have wonderful memories of Imperial Valley and all that's been to our family, and I'm delighted that you picked my father. And I want to thank Senators Cheney and Hollingsworth for promoting that name and having this come to fruition. Thank you all, and we'll get out of the hot sun. They tell me I get to keep this sign, and would you please all sign it? Thank you.
Thank you, John. Now, I want to introduce the person that's going to deliver this project, or he and his staff. Someone that we've been fortunate enough in this part of Caltrans District 11 to have as the district director. And he will introduce probably a few of his staff who have had key involvement in this. I don't know how many of you saw the paper today, but Caltrans, in anticipation of this event, took out a full-page ad showing all of the many, many projects that they have going on here, along with some delivery dates. And as we've discussed many, many times, some of those delivery dates are sort of conservatively picked. It is still our hope and ambition to take the third stage of Brawley, which is now funded, but there is a programming issue on how soon we can deliver it. But there are some things that Caltrans in this district, through their creativity, have learned how to do in contracting and in other things that can speed up the delivery of the project. And as you know, having this phase 2, without phase 3, it's a boon, but it really doesn't manage to get the full effectiveness until we have that third phase, which is a full bypass. And so with Measure D, there are some ways that we could probably get into this Bond Act money early enough that even though we're going to have groundbreakings for the next phase staggered by a year or better,